Have you ever been in a very beautiful place and everything else is perfect except the sky? It's dull and gray. But I have a solution, or Luminar 4 has a solution. AI sky replacement feature or tool. And I will give you 5 tips about how to use that. Hi there, I'm Peter Forsgard, an Olympus visionary and a professional photographer from Helsinki, Finland. And before we get into the business, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the bell so you get notified when there is a new video online. My channel is all about you getting to be a better photographer and of course about Olympus gear. Now it's a very good time to go into your archives and look at the images that you have taken over the years and do some image editing. And if image editing is something new to you, it's a good time to start learning, because every digital image is just a starting point for adjustments and for on its way to a final image. It's like a negative that needs to be processed. It doesn't mean that you need to do a lot of manipulation, but adjusting the tones and adjusting the contrast is usually needed. And sometimes you might have a sky that is really boring. It's like a gray sky, there's no details. Then Luminar 4 might be a good solution, and it's AI sky replacement feature. So let's dive in and see how it works. And the tip number 1, start with AI Enhance, which is a tool. We don't replace anything yet. But so if you have any detail in the sky, try that first. It's a good tool and it will make your image look a lot better. From the AI Enhance, try AI Accent and AI Sky Enhancer. You can find them from Essential and AI Enhance. It can do a pretty good job if you have some detail in the sky, like in this image. Enhancing the sky with Luminar is really easy and intuitive. And that is something that I really liked about Luminar. I just got it and opened it and started playing around, and it was really easy to use. And if you're just starting to do image editing, I think this is a very good software to start, because as I said, it's quite intuitive, and there are like landscape enhancement tools right here. And you know, it's easy to use and understand what it does. But let's continue. Tip number 2. The landscape enhancement that I just mentioned has one slider called Golden Hour. Simply what it does, it makes the image warmer. In many cases, a very good slider to do if you want to change the atmosphere of your image and you want to make it a bit warmer. It's the same thing that it would change the, light temperature, the white balance of your image to be a bit warmer. But in somehow, when the slider says golden hour, it's more intuitive than temperature, I think. Even though photographers has been talked about light temperature and white balance many years. But why not just take golden hour? And everybody knows what it is. You don't have to know all these fancy terms. And I think that's why I think Luminar is a very good, if you're not so used to, and also if you're more experienced, it still can do stuff a lot easier than Lightroom and Photoshop. And there are also similar tools for portraits, but I might do a video about that later. This one is about the sky replacement. But let's go to tip number 3. If you have tried the Sky AI Enhance and there wasn't any result, then you might want to replace your sky. But before I get into how to do that and what are the things that you need to consider is the things that when it is okay to replace the sky. If we start the genre is that it's not okay. Of course, you have photojournalism, it's not okay. Or if you're documenting something, then I wouldn't do it, because it would be a document anymore if it had a sky replaced. And then when we come to your travel images, for example, because usually when you travel, you don't have the possibility to be at the place at the perfect time to photograph it. You might have a dull sky and you might want to replace that. And on that one, it's totally fine. But then it won't be necessarily a document anymore. It is just a pretty image, and that's fine. But remember that it's not a document anymore, because I don't really mind image editing or image manipulation to be a bad thing, as you remember that. And of course, one thing that just came to my mind is, of course, if you do some nature photography competitions, then it might not be okay to replace the sky to make the image look better. But if you want to make a nice print to your home and hang it on a wall, by all means, do whatever you want to the image so that it will look the way you want it want it to look, and Luminar is good for that. But let's continue. I have this dull looking image with a really gray sky, and it's not a marvelous photograph, but it's a memory from a trip that I took with my wife to northern Scotland, and we did the North Coast 500 road trip, and we started from Inverness, and this was the first night we stayed, and we just arrived to Inverness and parked our car, checked in our room, and needed to take a walk, or wanted to take a walk and look around Inverness. And this is just a memory, but replacing the sky on this one can make this image a little better. And let's see what I did. AI sky replacement tool can be found from the Creative tab. It is the first one. You have a selection of skies. The first thing to think is the direction of light. And this is really important. You need to think where the light comes from in your image. It's not very good to put an image where the sun is over here and then the light comes from over here from the sky. I don't think that looks very good. It's very unnatural. And on this one, I think being more natural is a better thing. The image will look better. I tried blue sky number 1. It doesn't work, as you can see. I don't think it's very good. But then blue sky number 5 works a lot better. It needs a bit tweaking, but as you can see, this is more natural. It's still a bit too blue. But then when I took the dramatic sky 4, and that's something that could work. But there is a problem. The sun is shining from the wrong direction, because the sun was shining on that particular moment from the right side of this image, a little bit behind the houses, as you can see from the shadows. So we need to have the light on that side. So there is a tool called Flip Sky. So then we can flip it and adjust the horizon level so that the image will look more natural. But as you can see, the houses are not right colored now when we have this more warm sky. So what we need to do is we need to go to the landscape and enhancement and use the golden hour tool, which will make it more natural. But we still have a small problem with the windows, but I'm not going to get into that deep because that will need some Photoshop, unless there is a way in Luminar, but I couldn't find it. So if there is, please let me know in the comments down below and I will check that out. But as you can see, this image got a bit better. But is it a great image after I replaced the sky? No, it's not. It's just a bit better. But as I said, it's a nice memory of that starting that trip, so that's why. And also it was a good image to show you what you need to think when you are replacing the sky. That's why I chose this image. But let's continue. Tip number 4. You can always use your own images if you want. And also you can buy images from online. And I know an Olympus educator, Matt Suez, has a really good collection of skies. And there is a link in the description to this video where you can check out and possibly buy those. The link is an affiliate link, so I will get a small commission if you do that. But let's try this image and replace the sky with an image that I just took from my balcony. It was a really nice and sunny weather today with some really nice clouds, which I would call almost a Simpson clouds. And I think those might fit this image, because when I took this image in Estonia, Saaremaa, last summer, it was a really nice crispy, clear weather with a lot of sunshine, like it was today in Helsinki. So these might fit together, and with a click of a button, already the image looks quite natural. But I need to do one thing, is to add some atmospheric haze to it, so it will look a little bit more natural. But this easy it is when you have a matching image and you have the light matching and you have the weather matched with these two different images. And that's all about composing images. You cannot compose anything. You need to change the light and the atmosphere. Those has to be quite close so that the image is natural. Because the light to the scene comes from the sky. It's from the sun and then it reflects from the sky from the other side. So that's why it's more natural if you can match the tones and the atmosphere of these two images, like you would do in any composite images. But on this one, as I said, it works really easily, and that's why I really like Luminar. It's not perfect yet. If you have some really small details in the trees against the sky, it might be in a bit of a trouble. So it's not perfect yet, but this is just the beginning of AI in this sky replacement. So I think it works pretty well, since it's just quite new thing. And before we get into tip number 5, there will be an extra tip in the end, so don't go away after tip number 5. And the tip number 5 is go crazy. There are lots and lots of crazy things you can do with Luminar and have a lot of fun. You can put Milky Way there, you can put Starry Night, you can put Moon in there, you can put planets in there, you can put birds, you can have an eagle there. Just experiment and try, but don't overdo it. If you are not want to go crazy, then it's all right. And I think if you have this software or are planning to get it, try these things and go crazy and see what you can do with it. It's a lot of fun, and I think we need some fun things during these pretty odd times. So go crazy and try. And before the extra tip, one more thing. There is a link where you can get Luminar 4. It's an affiliate link, and then using this code you can get 10% off. I won't put the code in the description of the video, so it's a reward for you if you have watched all the way to the video. So use that code for 10% off. And if you get it now, you will also support World Health Organization, since Skylum, the maker of Luminar 4, will donate €5/$dollars to World Health Organization to fight the coronavirus. So it's a win-win situation for you, for me, for Skylum, and for World Health Organization. So you can do something good too. And then the extra tip. If you have an image where there is a reflecting water and you want to replace the sky, if you just replace the sky, you won't have any reflection of the sky in your image, and that won't look very natural. The way to do it is first replace the sky with the sky that you want, flip it, replace the water with the same sky, you'll replace the sky, and then flip it back, and you will have an image with the reflection also in the water. Very handy tip, and I think it works really nicely. But what you need to do is to adjust a bit the reflection, because it won't be as sharp. It will be a bit more, let's say, hazier. So atmospheric haze could work on the reflection. But don't overdo it. You want to keep it natural. And now the conclusion. I've mentioned a couple of times that the Luminar 4 is quite intuitive. And that's what it is. It's easy to use. It's not very complicated software, even though it can do complicated things. But that's the engine inside, so you don't have to worry about how it's done. It just works. But there are some limitations. As I said, like if there are some really a lot of branches against the sky, it might get a bit confused. So you need to be careful. It doesn't work for every image that you have taken. But if you follow the rules of light and adjust the tones and everything, you can get some really marvelous results with this software. So if you're interested in, give it a try. But hey, thanks for watching, and bye for now.